Su sighed. Xiaofan, you should thank your master. If he hadn't personally treated you, even if it was just external injuries, you would have needed at least half a year to recover. Zhang Xiaofan was shocked, feeling grateful, but still expressing his gratitude sincerely. Disciple is incompetent and has burdened master. Tia Bai snorted, his face turning cold. Where are you incompetent? You are now the most capable person in the Great Bamboo Peak. Zhang Xiaofan was shocked again, not understanding the meaning of Tia Bai's words. He could only say, Master, I'm not, like senior sister, and also senior brother and all my senior brothers, they're far better than me. I dare not ... double quotes he spoke, but his voice gradually lowered. Looking at the faces of his senior brothers and Tianlinger in front of him, he noticed their strange expressions, especially his senior brother standing in front of everyone today. His face looked particularly pale, no longer the usual lively and vigorous appearance, but rather shaky. Su sighed. Daxin, get a chair for your senior brother. Lu Daxin hurriedly responded, fetching a chair from the side and placing it next to Song Darren. Song Darren originally wanted to refuse, but after his body shook a few times, he sat down, panting heavily. Zhang Xiaofan looked at him in amazement. Senior brother, what's wrong with you? Song Darren smiled bitterly, but didn't speak. It was their 4th round in the 7 schools competition. Only Zhang Xiaofan was left from the Great Bamboo Peak. Zhang Xiaofan was stunned for a moment, then remembered something, turned to Tianlinger, who was sitting at the head of the bed, and said, Senior sister, then you also ... double quotes. Tianlinger's expression dimmed, whispering, I lost too. Zhang Xiaofan looked at her disappointed expression, feeling a pang of pain in his heart, but at this moment, he couldn't afford to think randomly. Tia Bai looked Zhang Xiaofan up and down, his face turning serious. Xiaofan, Zhang Xiaofan's heart jumped, listening to Tia Bai's words that seemed to be filled with hidden anger, and seeing his master's extremely unpleasant expression, he couldn't help but feel a bit frightened. Yes, master, what ... what is it? Before he could finish, Tia Bai stared at Zhang Xiaofan, saying decisively, how did you learn this level of Dao techniques? Zhang Xiaofan's head buzzed, his mouth gaping open. For a moment, he didn't know how to respond. He looked at everyone in the room one by one, only to see the familiar and kind senior brothers maintaining silence at this moment, with a hint of doubt in their eyes. It was understandable. A junior who was usually incredibly clumsy suddenly showing remarkable prowess. No one could accept it in such a short time. Under the fierce gaze of Tia Bai, sweat dripped down Zhang Xiaofan's forehead. There was a moment when he almost blurted out to his master that he had secretly practiced a different sect's technique. However, he ultimately restrained himself. He was no longer the ignorant youth from 5 years ago. In the daily conversations with his fellow disciples, he had long known about the prestigious reputation of Tianyin Temple. He also knew the true identity of the thin and old monk named Puzi on that night. Over the years, he had been practicing the Great Brahmer wisdom technique alone, but deep down, his gratitude towards Puzi had never diminished. I, disciple, am ignorant. Over these years, my cultivation progress has been limited. Zhang Xiaofan lowered his head, unable to meet Tia Bai's gaze. He carefully spoke. Some days ago, disciples suddenly discovered the ability to manipulate some objects, but even I couldn't believe it myself. So I didn't dare to report it to Master's wife. I didn't expect ... Tia Bai sneered. I didn't expect you to shine so brightly this time. Zhang Xiaofan hurriedly said, no, that's not it. Master ... double quotes. Tia Bai was not easily deceived. He coldly said, you said you could manipulate things, but at least that requires reaching the 4th level of the Yuking realm. I asked Darren, and he only passed on to you the techniques of the 2nd level. So, can you tell me, as your ignorant master, how did you bypass the 3rd level and advance to the 4th level? By the end of his words, his tone was icy, with a hint of hostility, causing everyone's expressions to change. Zhang Xiaofan fell silent, and the room became quiet. After a long time, just as Tia Bai's expression became increasingly unpleasant and everyone's worrying grew heavier, Zhang Xiaofan silently got up. It was evident that he was still very tired, but he struggled to get out of bed. Then, in front of everyone, under the gaze of Tianlinger's clear and bright eyes, He knelt down in front of Tiabai. Tiabai remained unmoved and coldly said, "What now?" Zhang Xiaofan buried his head deeply, his eyes fixed only on the small patch of ground beneath him, without looking at anything else nearby. He whispered, "Master, please punish me." The crowd was moved, and Tiabai's anger intensified. So Yu frowned and said, "Xiaofan, if you have any concerns, just tell your master directly. Why go to such lengths?" Zhang Xiaofan remained motionless on the ground. Tiabai sneered twice, angrily left, and said, "All right, all right, all right, you're quite stubborn. Indeed, I've also got myself a good disciple." Zhang Xiaofan's body trembled as he lay prostrate on the ground, and it was unclear what mood or expression he had at this moment. In this room, it seemed as if there was another person. Suddenly breathing heavily, he spoke softly, "It's all the disciple's fault. Please punish me, master." Tiabai suddenly stood up, and with a bang, the chair beneath him shattered into pieces. As he got up, the people's faces changed, and they saw him angrily facing Zhang Xiaofan. "It's all your fault. Hey, do you know that stealing your master's teachings is a major taboo in Qingyun Sect? If lightly punished, you'll face the wall for decades, and if severely punished, your cultivation will be abolished and you'll be expelled from Qingyun. Do you understand?" Zhang Xiaofan suddenly looked up at Tiabai, seeing the anger on his master's face, but without a hint of exaggeration. He couldn't help but feel a sinking feeling in his heart. How could this happen? He agonized silently in his heart. When Tialinger secretly passed on the technique to him, it wasn't like this at all. However, he still didn't turn back to look at her. The room fell silent like death, with no one uttering a word. Only the anxious breathing, sometimes high and sometimes low, remained in the room. A person's heart, in this silence, became colder and colder, as if madness, but so rational, staring at himself. Zhang Xiaofan closed his eyes and bowed his head again, like a desperate man taking the final step. "Disciple is unfilial. Please punish me, master." Bang. A powerful force surged like a mountain and a sea, and Zhang Xiaofan flew backward, crashing heavily into the wall. Amidst the flying dust, he fell to the ground, spitting out a mouthful of blood. The crowd's expressions changed. Sung Daren, leading the group, knelt down forcibly, and the other disciples also knelt before Tiabai, saying, "Master, spare our junior brother." Sung Daren added, "Master, I cough. It's my incompetence in teaching that led junior brother to make mistakes. It's all my fault. Please spare him, master." Amidst the pleas of the crowd, Tialinger stood still, staring blankly at Zhang Xiaofan, who was struggling in pain and bleeding in the corner. Her face was pale, devoid of any color,